Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for Hitchhiking in New Zealand Part 4. So after an amazing time in Queenstown, Julia and I head to Dunedin. Sadly her working holiday visa is coming to an end, so we say au revoir and go our own ways. Once in Dunedin, I decided to treat myself and check into a hostel for 2 nights. Woohoo! Which also happens to be pizza night on the night I check in. Dunedin was a super cool city, lots of awesome graffiti. I even spotted some by Flem, a British artist, which was really cool. Something else that was really even cooler was the fact that they had a gas holder museum. Back in the UK, I loved to climb these structures, so to find a museum dedicated to them was great. Next day, I was a tourist, and I headed to the Dunedin Railway. I was the only one in the carriage. 1 minute you're speeding through Dunedin, next minute you go through a tunnel, and poof, you're in the countryside. It was stunning. And I was so lucky with the weather. New Zealand doesn't have a railway network, so it was pretty cool to experience this. Then that night, I checked out the view from the local church. It had scaffolding all the way up, so it was an easy climb. I can remember watching all the freight trains leave from Dunedin at night. Weirdly, there must have been some building next to it which kind of dispatched medical personnel, because I remember looking down at one point and seeing this car with dressed officers. Now, I thought I'd tripped a PIR or something, but clearly they drove away and I could enjoy the rest of the evening to myself. From there, I hitched with 2 English girls to Timaru. The girls had been working in Australia and they'd also volunteered in Uganda helping to educate women about their sexual health. On the way we stopped off at these really strange round boulders. Really cool, but really odd. From there, I spent the night in this park and I hitched to Christchurch. I ended up getting picked up by a lady who was returning home from a Pink Floyd concert. Then a minute after she picked me up, we saw another female hitchhiker. And the lady, she was called June, asked if I knew the girl, and I said no. She's like, let's pick her up anyway. So yeah, there's June and us 2. The other hitchhiker is called Julie, and she's from France. June is amazing, and she invites us back to her house to stay for a few nights. And we end up going to the local zoo with her granddaughter. Julie and I head to Akaroa. We meet her friend Taiho. We venture up into the hills and see Akaroa from above, in between the rain that hits. It was a really cool hike, and the view was even better. Oh, check out this tap. It's that old that the tree has actually grown around it, but the tap still works. So I said goodbye to everyone, and I hitched back up to the north of the South Island, back to Havelock, where I briefly stayed before my Richmond range hike. I was going to be starting my 3rd workaway tomorrow, so I camped out beside the marina. This workaway was amazing. The only way to get there is either by boat or to hike 20 miles. There I was helping the place get ready for a Scottish wedding. It was such a beautiful part of New Zealand. They had their own veg garden and they were like a self-sufficient homestead. It was run by a Dutch couple who had 4 teenage kids. When I wasn't volunteering, I disappear into the nearby wilderness with their 3 dogs, who were called Elvis, Luna and Flower. I'd spend all day walking through the forests, climbing trees and swimming. Boy, it was good. I had made plans to spend time with my parents' friends back in Invercargill, so I'd hitch all the way back down the South Island to the southern tip, and on the way there I got to stay with June again, and Julie too. She'd been on a workaway of her own. June had somehow managed to find reduced tickets for a jet boat ride, so off we go. The jet boat ride, as you'd expect it to be, was awesome. We also spend time in the Hanmer Hot Springs, which happens to be the first place to have a gas holder in New Zealand. We say a final goodbye, and I end up sleeping on this beach, where I awoke to the most beautiful sunrise. Hitching to Invercargill, I stayed with my parents' friends. They were great hosts, and I attempted a cheesecake to say thank you. It was lovely to have some downtime, and Tom, my host, took me to Waipapa, where we were able to see sea lions.
The blonde ones are blonde, they're like, I'm not sure, I think that other one's a young man. So that the one in the middle is a young man, a teenage man, he's playing.
After Seacoming the beach, we head into Invercargill, where I explored Queen's Park, somewhere my family and I came often when we lived here. It was a short but sweet stay, and I soon hitched back to Dunedin, where I stayed with Tom's son and his girlfriend, who happened to be a tattoo artist. She asked if I got a tattoo, what would I get? I mentioned a quote I liked, and so she whips out her tattoo gun and says, would I like it? And I'm like, okay, yeah, go for it. I spend the night at theirs, and we all have breakfast together. And from there I head to the airport. I'll be flying back to Wellington, where I'll spend the last few days. The capital lives up to its name, Windy Wellington. I visit the Weta Workshop, which is full of their most well-known film, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I also see our ballet performance of the piano. It's the first ballet I'd ever been to, and I'm glad I went. I spend all my nights sleeping in the park, which saves me a lot of money. I also visit the Te Papa Museum, which had a Gallipoli exhibition, which was very hard-hitting as you'd expect. And from there, I flew to Australia. If you're still watching, thank you. I loved my time in New Zealand, and during this current climate, it was lovely to go back and do something with all my footage. It also seems very strange to think about travelling again, especially hitchhiking where you share a car with strangers. What do you love about travelling? Have you been to New Zealand? What did you like best? For me, it was the people, definitely. Anyway, I thank you very much for watching and take care.